Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the show. We got a doozy for you. I was on my Patreon yesterday doing a Q&A with my Tier 1 members, and a couple of members were talking about this story out of Colorado where these two Mexican nationals got rolled up transporting a large quantity of ammunition. Now, initially, I'm like, this is not a big deal. Like, this probably happens every single day in this country. One of the biggest issues that's not talked about is the amount of guns and ammunition that's transported from America into Mexico. I mean, think about it. If 99% of the fentanyl crisis is responsible by China importing the good, Mexico transporting the drugs across the border, and 1% is coming from Canada, well, there's a lot of things that we're missing that are coming in, but can you imagine the amount of things we're missing that are going out? And we likely care less about the things going out than we do the things coming in. So there's more attention paid that way. I hear this and go, oh yeah, it could be ammunition, weapons for the cartels. But this one's very different. Let me run a little news piece for you so you get the gist of it. And let's talk about the details of why I think this is a potential inside attack or the precursor or preparation for the inside attack. Let's roll the clip.
4 o'clock, 2 Mexican citizens are facing federal charges after they were allegedly traveling in a car carrying 180,000 rounds of ammunition in southern Colorado. According to the criminal complaint, Martinez Solis and Ivan Amador Gaviria were arrested after a Fremont County deputy pulled them over in Canyon City for not dimming their headlights as they drove by. During that stop, officers found 180 boxes of ammunition, each of which contained 1,000 rounds. There were approximately 150 boxes of .308 ammunition, a common hunting round, and about 30 boxes of .762 ammo, which is commonly used in AK-47s. Both Solis and Gaviria are now being charged with unlawful possession of ammunition by an alien admitted under non-immigrant U.S. visa.
All right, so you get the gist. Let me go over the timeline for you. March 25th, these two Mexican nationals fly into Denver, Colorado. Their intent is to buy ammunition, and according to the affidavit, it says, further explained that he did not know the intent with the ammunition, but that he believed it was destined for Pueblo, Colorado. The unique aspect here is they had specific marching orders from the time they left Mexico to the time they landed in Denver, Colorado. They had a task and purpose, and that was to get ammo and transport it to Pueblo. And my hope is these guys were being tracked as they landed. I hope immigration officials, and according to them, they had some task force that this was part of. But these guys go, ironically, right down the road to Salt Lake City, Utah. And when I initially heard this on my Patreon and I heard the bulk of the ammo, I'm like, yeah, that's not a big deal. Like, how much are they smuggling? 1,000 rounds, a couple thousand rounds? When they get rolled up, this is what the police find. In fact, they're pulled over for traffic violations in Canyon City, Colorado, right down the road where I used to live. So here's a picture of it. Yeah, this is a lot of ammunition. Now, again, if you're watching this, you're going, why are they able to buy 180,000 rounds of ammunition? Apparently, there's 180 boxes with 1,000 rounds in each box of what they say in the news report of .308 and .762. This would weigh down the vehicle a lot. And as an indication that somebody's transporting something, or if you're in a war zone, it could be the indication of an improvised explosive device that's weighing down the vehicle. Now, the concerning thing here is that according to the affidavit, 150 boxes were .308. And it says the other 30 boxes were .762. Well, if you don't know a lot about ammunition, it's either in inches or in the metric system in millimeters. That's the same caliber. .308 is .762 by 51. Now, the 30 boxes could be .762 by 39, but I thought they would likely delineate that. Like, hey, we have 30 boxes of AK ammo and 150 boxes or 150,000 rounds of 308. So apparently these guys had a very specific task and purpose of coming to the country, buying ammunition, and transporting it directly to Pueblo, Colorado. Now, I'm asking the question, how is it possible that a non-citizen could go into a ammunition store in Salt Lake City, Utah, and buy 180,000 rounds? Guys, we're not talking about like, hey, I'm buying a couple hundred rounds. It's like, oh, what are you using that for? Oh, we're doing a training thing. Oh, okay. Like, you're an American citizen, people ask questions, more so out of curiosity. You're two Mexican guys who come in, you're not American citizens, and the actual charge, which is interesting, is both Salas and Guevara were both charged with unlawful possession of ammunition by aliens admitted under a non-immigrant visa, the Fed said. And they were obviously rolled up and then handed over to ICE. How is two non-U.S. citizens going into an ammunition store and loading up a van with 180,000 rounds? So their intent was go to Colorado and then eventually drop it off in Pueblo, Colorado. They had marching orders. Now, if you're not familiar with Pueblo, Colorado, let me just show you right here where it's at. And I'm very familiar with Pueblo, Colorado, because when I was stationed at Fort Carson, Colorado, in 10th Special Forces Group, I was a team sergeant there. I was told, hey, if you're going to come live here, stay away from Pueblo, because it was crime-ridden and had a lot of cartel that were there. It's known for having cartel that are there and active, talking specifically to law enforcement officers. I moved to Monument in the opposite direction. Why would Pueblo, Colorado be significant in this narrative? Well, here's a few things. One, Pueblo, Colorado is like the backyard of Fort Carson, Colorado, home of the 4th Infantry Division, 10th Special Forces Group, an aviation wing. The list goes on and on. It's right there. And the other important and significant thing in proximity is that Northcom's headquarters is based in the area. Drive up the road to Denver, Colorado. It's open source information. Guess who else is there? The headquarters of the NSA. So a very strategic location if you're trying to do something really bad. Now, when you hear this ammunition thing, you're like, oh man, that's a lot of ammunition. Like what could that be used for? Now, the inclination is to think that the 308 round is potentially used for a rifle. Like, I don't know, a bolt action rifle. Most of us default to that because that's what you would use a 308 round in. People who've come out of the military and used SR-25s, have used SCAR heavies, have shot in national match competitions, would use 308, a national match version of it. I mean, in the space of precision rifle competition, it's not the preferred round, but it used to be. But the first thing that pops into my infantry / 18 Bravo Special Forces Weapons Sergeant brain is they're buying this ammunition to link it. They're buying 180,000 rounds of 7.62 by 51, 308 to link it for a machine gun. They're not going to buy this ammunition in bulk to supply a whole bunch of semi-automatic gas guns like a SCAR Heavy, an SR-25, an OBR. That's not going to be their intent. AR-10s are not going to be their intent. The reason they're buying that ammunition is to link ammunition for a machine gun. Some weapon systems have disintegrating links that basically fall apart. So when I say linked, I know a lot of people wouldn't know what I'm talking about, but basically the way that 7.62 is put together is via these links that's pictured right here. What you do is you put a round through it, it connects the link, and you can continue to link this ammunition to create a belt. That belt is laid onto the machine gun. The feed tray is closed down on it. And now you have 100, 200 round belt of ammunition that allows the machine gun to be able to cycle. The concerning thing here is these guys were given a mission. They didn't know all the details of it, but what are they doing? To me, they're facilitating terrorism. I mean, likely these guys handed over to ICE are going to just be deported. But why would this not be the facilitation of terrorism? Now, what I hope is happening is these guys are being grilled so we can find out the origin of this and the true intent. Who is going to be on the receiving end in Pueblo, Colorado, which is why I think there's so much delay in this, because this happened in late March and we're at the end of April. Hopefully, the Joint Task Force was able to identify what the actual purpose of that was. Guys, if this was going to be an inside attack, this would be the absolute worst case scenario. They're not just getting small arms, they're potentially buying in bulk from U.S. citizens and U.S. companies. Can you imagine a scenario where these guys were able to follow through with their mission, where they were able to hand over this 180,000 rounds? This was linked, and then you have these guys using U.S. sold ammunition against American citizens. I could tell you from firsthand experience the difference between a small arms engagement and an engagement that has a support by fire position, and its lethality and the amount of casualties it will create will be one of the largest scale historical attacks in our history. So it's a huge concern. It is a massive concern. I don't think personally these guys were coming over here to transport the ammunition to Pueblo to further distribute it into Mexico. I think this was going to a safe house to be distributed to other cartel members, or this was going specifically for an attack. And again, like I told you, it's in the backyard of Fort Carson, Colorado, the NSA and Northcom headquarters. That is a very specific strategic location in proximity to a lot of things. If this was a coordinated, deliberate attack, would be the worst we've ever seen. Now, in the underground, I'm doing 2 sessions. I'm doing the first session, basically going over the news and things that you could prepare. You could check my Patreon link down below. I got a good night's sleep. I want to plug my own product because a lot of people have been asking me about this stand down supplement. Guys, 0 THC, 0 CBD, and it was designed for first responders and military who wanted a sleep aid, and it's all natural. From reishi mushrooms to passion flower to chamomile to magnesium to microgram doses of melatonin to get a good night's rest. It's available now. I'll also link that down below. And guys, what you're seeing in the news with these stories that are coming out, this is just the beginning. Have we ever seen a story where Mexican nationals were coming into the U.S. transporting 180,000 rounds? I don't think so. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. This is very concerning. We have to be prepared. I appreciate you guys. I'll catch you in the underground. Till next time.